Hello, good morning students. Today we'll study the further parts of the kidney. Next part of the kidney is borders of the kidney. As we know, it has two borders. One is lateral border and another is medial border. First we'll see lateral border. Its lateral border is convex in its general outline, and on the right side it is related to the ascending colon below and to the right lobe of the liver above, from which it is separated by the peritoneum of the greater sac. On the left side it is related to the spleen above, from which it is separated by the peritoneum of the greater sac and to the descending colon below. The lateral border lies at a distance of about 11 cm from the lumbar spines. Then we'll go for medial border. Its medial border is convex both above and below, adjacent to the poles, and is concave in between them, and slopes downwards and laterally. It presents a slit-like cleft in its middle third known as the hilum, which gives passage to the renal vessels, nerves, lymphatics, and the pelvis of the ureter, and is bounded by anterior and posterior lips. The renal vein lies in front, artery in the middle, and the pelvis of the ureter below and behind. One of the arteries lies behind the pelvis, nerves accompanies the artery, and the lymphatics accompanies the veins. Next comes the surfaces of the kidney. There are two surfaces. One is anterior surface and one more is posterior surface. Now we'll study each surface and their relation, visceral relation as well as peritoneal relation, one by one. First we'll see the anterior surface of the left kidney. The anterior surface of the left kidney is convex and is directed forwards and laterally. The anterior surface of the left kidney over a small area opposite to its medial margin above the hilum is in relation to the left suprarenal gland. The upper two-thirds of the lateral half is related to the spleen. Opposite the hilum, the anterior surface is related to the tail of the pancreas and the splenic vessels. Above the pancreatic area and in between the suprarenal and the splenic areas is the gastric impression, which comes into relation with the posterior-inferior surface of the stomach, being separated by the peritoneum of the lesser sac. Below the pancreatic and splenic areas, the lateral part of the anterior surface is related to the left colic flexure, while its medial part is related to some coils of the small intestine, that is, some coils of jejunum. The gastric, splenic, and the jejunal areas are covered by the peritoneum. The gastric area is covered by the peritoneum of lesser sac, whereas the splenic and the intestinal areas are covered by the peritoneum of the greater sac. Next is anterior surface of the right kidney. The upper lateral part of the anterior surface is related to the inferior surface of the right lobe of the liver. The medial margin adjoining the upper pole is related to the right suprarenal gland. Adjoining the hilum, the anterior surface comes into contact with the second part of the duodenum. The lower part of the anterior surface is related to the right colic flexure laterally and to some coils of the small intestine medially. The hepatic and the intestinal areas are covered by the peritoneum of the greater sac. Here in this diagram we can see the anterior surface of both the kidneys, right as well as left kidney, their anterior surfaces with the visceral relation as well as peritoneal relation. In left kidney, here we can see at the upper pole as well as upper part of the medial border is covered by the suprarenal gland. Then at the lateral border at its upper half, this area is covered by the spleen. In between the suprarenal area and splenic area, the upper 1/3 area is covered by the gastric or stomach impression. Then at the lower half of the lateral border is covered by the colic area, left colic flexure. Then at the medial border till the colic area, the area is covered by the small intestine or jejunal area. At the middle of both these areas we have pancreatic area which travels from the hilum towards the lateral border of the kidney. In this we can see the marked or striated area. These areas will be covered by the peritoneum in the left kidney. Those areas are gastric area, splenic area and intestinal area. These areas are covered by the peritoneum. Next is right kidney. Here in right kidney, again at the upper pole is covered by the suprarenal gland. Then at the hilum part, complete medial border is covered by the duodenal area. Then lateral to that we have at the upper 1/3 area is covered by liver, hepatic area. Then middle 1/3 part is by colic area, right colic flexure. Then lower 1/3 part is covered by the intestinal area. Okay, here also this striated part are the covered by peritoneum. Those are hepatic, liver area which will be covered by peritoneum, and at the lower 1/3 that is intestinal area. These both areas are covered by peritoneum. Now the posterior surface of the both the kidneys is flat and is directed backwards and laterally. The posterior edge of the upper pole comes into relation with the corresponding suprarenal gland. On both the sides, the posterior surface of the kidney lies in relation above with the diaphragm and can be divided into medial and lateral diaphragmatic areas. The medial diaphragmatic area is in relation with the corresponding crus of the diaphragm, while the lateral diaphragmatic area is related to the corresponding medial and lateral lumbocostal arches or the arcuate ligaments. Inferior to the diaphragmatic areas, it is related to the psoas major with its covering fascia, quadratus lumborum muscle with the anterior layer of the lumbar fascia, and the tendon of the origin of transversus abdominis muscle from the medial to the lateral side. The subcostal vessels and nerves, iliohypogastric and the ilioinguinal nerves, runs obliquely downwards and laterally behind the posterior surface of the kidney in order from above downwards. Here in this diagram we are able to see the posterior surface of both the kidneys. This is the left kidney and this is the right kidney. Here we can see the impressions or the relation of both the kidneys at their posterior surface. Here at the right kidney we can see clearly that this demarcation at the upper half and lower half, this middle demarcation, upper side of this demarcation, here we have the diaphragmatic area which is divided again. This is medial diaphragmatic area and this is the lateral diaphragmatic area. Here also same, it is demarcated at upper side and lower side, where this is the medial diaphragmatic area and this is the lateral diaphragmatic area. Then this lower half of the kidney is related to the, again at the medial border over the posterior surface, it is related to the psoas major muscle. This middle part of lower half of the posterior surface of the kidney is related to the quadratus lumborum muscle. Then at nearer to the lateral border of posterior surface of the kidney is related to the tendon of transversus abdominis. Same applies to the left kidney also. More posterior to it, we have at the right kidney only left costae or 12th rib is present. Then at the left kidney we have both 11th as well as 12th rib will be present or covering these kidneys at the posterior aspect. Next comes the hilum of the kidney. At the medial border of the kidney, a slit-like cleft in its middle third known as the hilum, which gives passage to the renal vessels, nerves, lymphatics and the pelvis of the ureter, and is bounded by anterior and posterior lips. The renal vein lies in front, artery in the middle, and the pelvis of the ureter below and behind. One of the arteries lies behind the pelvis, and nerves accompany the artery and the lymphatics accompany the veins. The hilum on the right side lies just below the transpyloric plane. Transpyloric plane, it is a imaginary line which passes through the pylorus of the stomach, which is opposite the first lumbar vertebra, and on the left side it is just above it. The medial border is related to the inferior vena cava on the right side, and with the duodenojejunal flexure, inferior mesenteric vein and the left suprarenal gland on the left side. Kidney receives its blood supply from the right and left renal arteries, which are the direct branches of abdominal aorta, and it is drained by the renal veins right and left, which terminates into the inferior vena cava. The lymphatics of the kidney consists of superficial and deep lymph vessels. The superficial lymph vessels lie in the true capsule of the kidney and communicate with the lymph spaces between the tubules of the kidney. They emerge at the hilum and ends by joining with the deep lymphatics. The deep lymph vessels accompany the renal vessels, communicate with the lymph spaces between the tubules, and join with the superficial lymphatics at the hilum. Both these end in the pre-aortic group of lymph nodes at the lumbar region. The nerve supply of the kidney. The nerve supplied by sympathetic and parasympathetic, that is vagus, through the colic and renal plexus. Applied anatomy of the kidney. First is floating kidney. It is a condition of displacement of the kidney where it displays and moves up and down from its pedicle, and the renal vessels can be palpated at the anterior abdominal wall at the lumbar region. With that, some common kidney conditions are perinephric abscess, where the abscess or pus is formed at the capsule of the kidney, and pyelitis, pyelonephritis, where the pus is formed inside the kidney, nephritis, where the inflammation occurs at the internal structure or nephrons of the kidney. Then hydronephrosis, where the watery edema or watery exudate is formed inside the kidney and kidney gets swollen. Renal stones, it is a very common condition due to lack of filtration of the kidney. There are many salt stones are formed inside the kidney and they may get stuck in the ureter of the kidney and may cause the pain at the lumbar region. According to their location, the pain may vary. If the stone is present inside the kidney, then pain may be at the lumbar region. If it is at the upper part of ureter, then that will be extended bit at the lower back. Then at the lower part of the ureter, if those stones are present, then that pain may extend from the lumbar region to the groin region. And if those stones comes in the urethra, then at the genitals that pain may come. This is the very common condition which we face in the clinical practice. So this completes the one more important abdominal organ, kidney. In next class, we'll go for one more viscera or organ. Thank you.